Chapter 12, where it's explained what is even going on. Alphonse led Mo back to the entrance hall. Many parts of the walls and the floor very heavily damaged. Pieces of the wall every still sometimes just falling off and rubble and dust all over the floor. The fight was over now and the invaders were nowhere to be seen. Only the members of the Adventurer Guild were gathered where the fighting took place before. Hilarious walked up and down in a worried way. Heidi treated Paul with bandages and ointment. He got burning marks on his left arms and was complaining about how he had the type advantage. Near the door, Mo saw Aaron, Charlotte and Yinping. He left Alphonse, who went to talk to Hilarious, to talk to his friend. All three were happy to see him unharmed. "I'm so sorry. I tried to find you. I really did," Mo said to them, giving Aaron a hug. "It's okay," Aaron answered as Charlotte once again jumped on Mo. "I wished I could have helped," Yinping said to the group. Mo was surprised he saw Yinping with other Pokémon except for him. She just casually sat there by his friend's side. Mo believed he was the only one who knew her. But who knew what Aaron did while Mo wasn't there to be a witness, or of what he didn't do? As the group sat down, Mo noticed that Aaron was also injured. His right hind leg bandaged and still bleeding a little. "What happened?" Mo asked Aaron and pointed to his leg. "A pinch got me from behind." "Not so serious," he answered. "Some other Pokémon got it worse," Yinping added. Heidi was now talking to Team Blue and Red. The two teams seemed to have an argument about something while Ziggy was pointing at Amy and then at his tail over and over again. His tail, which had a biting mark on it, was treaded by Heidi as Team Red went to Team Yellow and Orange and started talking with them. Publius' head was in bandages and he seemed to be in pain. His two older brothers and Team Green were by his side, trying to comfort him. Paul was still complaining about his injuries to Phil and Bao. Bao himself wasn't much interested in it as Phil was. Mo turned to Yinping while Aaron was examining his wounded leg. "Don't you want to go to your brother?" he suggested her. "Nah," she just said and shook her head. "Nah?" Mo was surprised. "Well, all right then. I'm not forcing you." He paused for a moment. "But it's okay to be around here. You know, stay in your room all the time? It is still night time, and I'm not bothering anyone," she answered calmly. "What are you doing?" Aaron said. Mo looked at him and he gave him a look like he just told a very bad joke. Even Charlotte seemed to be worried. "I'm just talking," Mo explained. Aaron still looked at him, examining him. "Okay," Aaron then answered and continued to look at his own wound. Sometimes later the police arrived. Officer Magnezone, 2 Magneton and 10 Magnemite entered the HQ. Officer Magnezone and the Magneton went straight to Hilarious and Alphonse, while the Magnemite started investigating. Either questioning the teams about what happened or examining the damage the battle had left. Mo had no idea what Hilarious, Alphonse and Officer Magnezone were talking about, but at one point Alphonse pointed to the corridor to the library and Hilarious at Team Red. Moments later Hilarious, Alphonse, Officer Magnemite and all three members of Team Red went to the Guild Master's room. The three Magneton went in the direction of the library. Two later came back with the Oddish, who were still frozen solid, and carried them out of the guild. After a while, when the third one didn't came back, one of the two returned to look for him. Shortly after both came back and managed to subdue a third Pokémon. Not a Gloom, but a Blossom. She was still trying hard to fight back. "Does anyone know this angry girl?" one Magneton asked. Mo couldn't believe his eyes. From all the stones he could have taken. Of all of them. "I think I do," Mo answered the Magneton. "That's one of the Pokémon that broke in. And before you ask, they are responsible for the mess back there." The two Magneton proceeded to carry the Blossom out of the HQ. As the Watt passed by Team Purple, the Blossom yelled at Mo, "What did you do? Look at me. I can't show myself to the others like this." One Magneton gave her a shock. "I get you for this," she added as they left. Mo turned around and saw everyone, including Ziggy and Bao, were looking at him, wondering what Mo did possibly did. "Praise me. This is probably the second life I've ruined in the past 3 weeks," Mo jokingly said to the others. Everyone still looked at him in silence. "I'm not good at math. In how many days would I destroy the third life?" Mo jokingly asked in the round. "What is wrong with you?" Gengolf the Golem shouted. Shortly after, Amy quickly ran past the other groups to Team Red's room, and just as she came she quickly ran back again, now holding a piece of paper. None of the teams of the Magnemite knew what she was doing just now. Later, Hilarious and the rest returned to the main hall. He now looked more calm than before they left. "Adventurer Guild. May I have your attention?" Hilarious said as he stood at the point where he always stands during the morning briefing. "You all wonder who the intruders were and why they left so suddenly?" Everyone still stood or sat on the place they stood or sat before and listened carefully. "Does any one of you know the legend of the Origin Stone?" Hilarious asked. Mo lifted his hand. "I think I do. The Origin Stone, also known as the Reset Stone, is a magical artifact created by Arceus after creating the world. The legend says the Origin Stone was created to create the universe and everything in it all over again. If for some reason, everything is destroyed, life will start anew." Hilarious nodded. "And do you know what the Origin Stone can do beside that?" he asked Mo. I think the one who will find the stone will be granted great powers. Powers enough to destroy the universe. To take over the world as a new god." Mo answered again. "And where is this stone? Can you tell me this as well?" Hilarious asked him. "No one knows where it is. There is nothing written about the place where it could be. It's only said it was moved over and over again by chosen Pokémon, so there could be many places to look." Mo answered once more. "Well," Hilarious said, "now we do." Everyone was shocked. Some were more surprised the stone really existed, some that the guild now knew where it was. Some even began arguing with each other if the guild master wasn't lying or not. "Quite!" the Bizharp shouted and everyone stopped talking. "I wanted it to be kept a secret, but after tonight I think you all need to know." Hilarious seemed very worried. Mo never saw him like this before. The group that attacked us tonight were the so-called forces of evil or forces of darkness. They have found out we have found a map leading to the Origin Stone. "Excuse me, Father," Fabius interrupted. "I don't want to be rude, but where did we found a map to something that can't be found?" Hilarious gave his son a mean look and Fabius turned away in shame. "It is not leading directly to the Origin Stone." Hilarious turned back to the others. "According to the map there is a key that is needed to open the door to the place the Origin Stone is hidden. The key itself will tell where the stone is. Then again, the map shows 4 different places where the key is supposed to be." Hilarious paused for a moment. "Where we found this map, Axel?" Axel stepped forward. He seemed nervous. "I saw it in a dream. I was told in my dream where to find this map. Amy, Steve and me went there and found the map. Right afterwards we were attacked by the same Houndoom who was involved with the attack tonight. We then gave it to Hilarious." "You saw it in a dream?" Ziggy asked him directly. Axel affirmed this. "Mo, the guild master called him. You knew so much about the stone. Do you know about the story of the first one who changed the stone's hiding place?" "Not much," Mo answered, still baffled about what he just heard in the past minutes. "There is one thing. According to the legend he had a dream about the future. One day, the forces of evil will come together to search for the stone, a chosen one from another world will come to find the stone. defeat the evil and to find one last hiding place where no Pokémon, not even Arceus himself, will find it ever again. This is right, Hilarious affirmed. We believe Axel here is the chosen one from the legend. Once again, there was chaos and disbelief under the teams. Stay calm, Hilarious screamed, and everyone was calm again, except for Hilarious too, who started to cry. We're not quite sure, but what we are sure about is the forces of evil have taken the map. They now know where to find the key and seize the stone. And how are we now supposed to find the locations from the map? Bao asked the guild master. As far as I know, your memory and that of those three are not the greatest. I copied it, Amy casually said. The other teams looked at her. I just took a piece of paper, read through the map on it, and hid it in our own room. To be safe. Alphonse then took the piece of paper Amy had before out of his bag-like tail and showed it to the teams. One thing is clear, we need to find this key first. I don't want to think about what that group will do if they really find it, announced Hilarious and turned to Team Green. Team Green, for the rest of the night, you keep guard. If those guys dare to come back. Hilarious turned back to the rest of the teams. The rest needs to go back to sleep. I want you all as rested as possible for tomorrow. I'll then explain what we are going to do about the key. And one last thing, Hilarious added. I would like to thank our member Mo from Team Purple. Was the one who heard the intruders and alarmed everyone. It could have gone worse without him. Everyone started applauding and cheering for Mo. Except for Team Blue. Ziggy was just ironically clapping his hands, while Nai was still busy comforting Richard, who was still crying a little. Mo felt embarrassed about everyone around him being happy for him. I was used to something like this. Also, it was not his deed. Yinping was the one who woke him up after she heard them. Guys. Please. It wasn't me, Mo said. Everyone stopped applauding and Aaron was confused. Then who is the one to thank for? Hilarious asked Mo. Mo wanted to point it at Yinping, still standing right next to him the whole time, and tell everyone she did it. But then he remembered they both could get in trouble. Well, at least Yinping always told him. Guildmaster, I need to talk to you. I private. If that is all right. Everyone still looked at Mo. Team Green, stay up for the rest of the night. Mo in my room, everyone else to bed. Hilarious commanded. As almost everyone went back to their rooms, Mo followed Hilarious back to his own room. It still looked like the last time he was in here on his first day. The guildmaster sat on the big table. All right then, he said to Mo, looking down to him with his cold eyes. Who was the one and why did your partner told me you were it? Mo was nervous. On the one side he couldn't lie, on the other side he had no idea if she should mention Yinping. I'm waiting, Hilarious impatient said. Yinping told me, Mo finally said. She came to our room, woke me up and told me we're under attack. Hilarious looked at in confusion, just like Aaron when he was talking to Yinping, and first said nothing. Yinping? He asked him. Bao's little sister. Mo answered, now scared if Hilarious was mad at him. Where did you know about Yinping? Hilarious said. Not angry, more shocked. I've already met her. I know she's sick and shouldn't leave her room. She didn't meant it. Please don't be mad, Mo answered. The guildmaster still looked at Mo if he was talking nonsense. If I understand you correctly, you met a young girl named Yinping, a Mindfu, inside of our guild, and she was also the one who told you about the attack? Yes, Mo answered, wondering what was going on. The guildmaster stood up and got on his knees to look exactly into Mo's eyes. Mo could feel a shiver down his spine right into his fake tail. If you're lying to me, this is not funny. Why should I? Mo asked. You can't have met Yinping. Whoever you met, she was not little Yinping, Hilarious told him. Mo was confused. Why not? He asked. Yinping passed away 3 years ago. She was brought to us when she was sick, and both her parents and Bao weren't able to take care for her. He was wandering around and trained. The guildmaster's eyes were getting moist. We took care of her and were proud when she told us she wanted to join us when she was old enough. But it just wouldn't get better. I got worse with every passing day. Hilarious started to rub his eyes. We promised it to Bao to take care of her. When he got the news, he was devastated. He blamed himself for what happened, couldn't get over it. He joined as Team Yellow with his pupils as redemption. Mo didn't understand. He was talking to a little Minshu. Or was he? He wasn't sure himself anymore. I'm so sorry, Guildmaster, Mo tried to said. You don't need to, said Hilarious and stood up again. Who you saw is either another intruder, trying to fool you, or there is something going on I can't understand. I wanted to have guards around in the HQ until we have the origin stone anyway. We will keep an eye on everything strange that will go on in the following days. When you see Yinping again, report immediately. Hilarious turned around and wished Mo a good night.